Hello to you all, gentlemen, ladies, in the middle and beyond. I'm your host for today's show. I'm Ace of Cards, but you can just call me Ace, and I welcome you all to my own little piece of internet, my wonderland. Today, our show's gonna be on vent art, an emotional piece filled to the brim with pain, grief, and suffering, which obviously makes the best of ammo to dogpile victim to hurt themselves. At least that's how some YouTubers tend to see it, sadly. Now, YouTube is not the only place where we find people doing this kind of bullshit, okay? People love to use others' traumatic experience against them. It's kind of like gaslighting. It adds a spark to the trauma they want to give you. But YouTube, like all social media, is the place where you can do it, with your entire audience helping you do it, isolating the already lonely victim even more. I know, sounds great, right? What a wonderful idea. Sarcasm isn't even enough for this bit. Anyhow, for today's show, we have some specific cases of creators that were hurt by a horrific way that I just described by their adversaries. Today, we have dolliguts and pitches as examples, and we can see the similarities in these cases. First, both had their own vent art used and abused in their dramas for the benefit of the opposing side, as if their art was evidence for their evilness. Second, both were treated cruelly and were basically attacked with their pain and trauma presented as proof to how horrible they allegedly were. And third, the audience. The audience drove both of them to an even worse situation mentally, since both were victims, were basically stripped of their very humanity in front of hundreds of thousands of views and people, because how they say, all is good in love and war? Yes, even this kind of love and war. Even harassing victims of horrible abuse. And war was both of those dramas, indeed. The entire YouTube commentary community literally became a battlefield. The differences are still there, but the similarities are striking. And the biggest of them all must be that the drama was personal, let's be honest. Something that should have been resolved behind closed doors was broadcast to the entire world to see. In both those cases, it was the perpetrators who first opened it. First, I must say, the people involved has already apologized, well, some of them, to the victims. And with the exceptions of, Prisonment Luke, Creepshow, Kai. So no ill will or hate should come to the ones who did apologize, who come their way. And from this case, and personally, I disavow you if you attempt to hurt any of them, even those who didn't apologize. I just want to clarify that, okay? My audience should not be savage idiots who come and attack others just because I made a video or two in my show on them. What I want to focus on here is how the audience was swayed so easily to attack those victims with their pain, and in such a inhumane way. I'll start with Preach's drama recap, because we all love recap of horrible dramas, right? The perpetrators, in this case, are Creepshow Art, Prisonment Luke, Kai, and Omnia. Important note, Omnia has already apologized, and Peaches and her have kind of forgive each other, I believe. They are pretty cute, like on Twitter. I saw them, they support each other, and I don't want any hate toward Omnia. They completely grew from it as a person, and I hope only good for them. I will link their GoFundMe below, because they had some other drama that, well, it's not a drama, it's just actual illegal stuff, which I'm not going to talk about, that happened in their day-to-day life, and I will very, very hope that any of you will help and donate and maybe give something back to them. So, by all means. Anyhow, let's continue. Imprisonment Luke was the person who had weaponized Peach's mental well-being against her and claimed she's a gay main baiter, which is a great idea. Really, like, that's exactly what you want to do to someone who might have real mental problems. Basically, they were trying to claim her as manipulative and evil to her genuinely asking for help on Twitter. He even doubled down, saying she victimized their audience because the poor woman just vented her pain that came from herself dealing with mental health problems. This video was straight up evil, in my opinion. It villainized someone going through something traumatic with their mental health and weaponized their trauma and pain against them. But Creepshow art video, well, things has begun to become even crueler, and this time it wasn't the views in the hundreds of thousands. No. The views were on the million. Oh yeah. More trauma for the victim. Isn't that right? Shit. Anyhow, you know what actually was sad? The ableism, the cruelty of blaming the victim was supported by this entire community. Unlike this cruel hate pieces against the victim, Omnia made a decent kind of a video explaining her experiences with Peaches and how it hurt her. But I still need to critique her for two things, since criticism isn't hate, and I just want to give my opinion. Because there was one major thing really bad in her video. And the first of this is this video very existence. The question why? Why do your subscribers need to know about your personal, and I mean personal, grudge against another creator? Someone might say, it's their channel, they can do whatever they want with it. And yeah, you're correct, why not? And this is my channel, my Wonderland, and I get to criticize them for doing so, instead of just settling like adults behind closed doors. However, the continuation was even worse. Worst of all, they used Peach's vent art as a thumbnail, while naming the video The Lies of Hopeless Peaches, basically implying Peaches faked her grooming and pain. No, Omnia, they already apologized, so I won't focus on them. My point is how the audience was completely fine with this kind of abuse of vent art. However, Creepshow and Luke were even better with it, let's just say that, and were promoting this kind of bullshit, and they still have not apologized. Yes, not even today. Back to the topic, Omnia is partially to blame. I need to criticize this, I'm sorry Omnia, but it's just a fair critique. You are partially to blame when it comes to the wave of people who came from your video, the Peaches grooming video, due to the title and hurted Peaches where it hurt most in her trauma. You knew, everyone knew. There is no person that alive that doesn't know, I believe, that people mostly don't click on the video. They just stick for 3 minutes or maybe just look at the thumbnail and get mad. It's what the audience does best. And you said in that video she wasn't a good friend. I believe that by making this thumbnail, you weren't a good person. That's what I believe. Not just a friend, just a person even. Because afterwards, the audience basically weaponized her trauma against her. It's not even the same league for an apology, much less the same state. It's like she stole your candy and you burned her entire house because of it. That's just horrible. Anyhow, I believe this is a fair critic for you, and I hope you will do better. I know that it's hard for you right now, and I hope in the future you would have it better and you would be happy with yourself even more, and it won't happen again. And please, Omnia, please treat vent art with more respect, please. Now, Omnia apologized, so this piece was just an honest critique of her action from a fan that will keep supporting her in the future and hopes she understands this, and I hope she would take this and get better with time. I hope her new channel would grow to even bigger than the former one, and I hope she is safe and happy here. I'm sure that by now she understood her wrongdoings, and I truly hope Omnia understands how important and delicate vent art is for survivors and why it shouldn't be used for YouTube dramas, but I still had to say it because she didn't handle this situation in the best way, in my opinion. Please support her. I'll link her new channel below. She deserves love, support more than anything else now. To be honest, this video is partially made before what happened to Omnia, so I was wondering if to take this bit out. However, I decided not because Omnia is an amazing person, and I understand that this... I believe they understand this is an attack or an attempt to revive old drama, but a recap and closing curtains for an event that shake this community, and an opinion piece for their involvement of all of the parties that was involved in this. Well, now, shit hits the fan. Prison Make Look video was not a good critique like Omnia's. No, it was just fucking slander of hopeless speeches. He attempted to use flimsy, at best, evidence in order to reinforce a victim-blaming mentality, which basically kept going in all of his videos about her. He used Peach's vent art as a way to vilify her. Creepshow art. Yes. That's the part of this video that supported this bullshit video. Which really, why? You saw his full of lies video that degraded Peaches for her bad mental health, and you were like, that's okay. And you had the nerve to present it as a good thing. I admit you are an asshole, and we all currently know that, but look, videos was fucking terrible. Not just for Peaches, but for everyone who deals with mental health as a whole. And back then, weren't you advocating yourself as some mental health advocate or some bullshit? And you comment on it, embracing this video as a good thing? I feel like I'm going insane. Creepshow was also the one who contributed 1 million hate, 1 million views against Peaches. Her video was absolute fucking trash, and to be honest, I wouldn't recommend it to my worst enemy. She repeats herself and use quote-unquote evidence to support one of the most dishonest representation of Peaches. And the funny thing is, you can literally just feel from her words her absolute fucking hate for Peaches, which I don't understand. Like, I don't think Peaches killed your dog or something. I don't understand why you hate her so much. Why I made this recap? Because the community was okay with all of this shit. Till other voices like Harley TBS, Spite V, and Squidus came to the picture, this community was completely okay with victim blaming Peaches. This community was okay with the thumbnail that made fun of Peaches' vent art, and about how the thumbnail implied that she lied, quote unquote, on her grooming, which is fucking horrible. I'm sorry. And this community was completely okay with this. was completely okay with look vilifying Peaches for having mental health problems, for attacking Peaches without even watching Omnia's video. They decided something so horrific, as if Peaches would lie about being groomed, and they treated the allegations as serious enough, as essay allegations, which is insane, even though they were just fallouts between friends. They weren't even that harsh of dramas to begin with. Yes, this was a mess. So I'll move on to the dolliguts. Well, where do I even start? Just like Peaches, dolliguts had her heart, her vent, her pain taken and plastered all over an expose video. Yay. And just like Peaches, she was blamed while being the actual victim. I wish I was joking. People who hated her for personal reasons have claimed that she's using her art, her vent, her pain and suffering to make other kids like her wanting to gay man themselves. Yes, really. For Peaches, they blamed her for seeking help, and for dolliguts, it was for spreading mental illnesses like a virus. Do you see the pattern I'm making here? The analyst pattern of blaming victims for their own mental problems? Yeah. And YouTubers just literally ran with the story. They didn't even think for a second that they look like those extremist religious people that think if you see a gay couple in their gayness, the gayness will stick to you. So just replace gay with mental illness and you get exactly what happened. No, really. Instead, YouTubers just thought, yes, telling a victim that they are to blame for their traumas and vent is just such a good idea. Oh, God. And I ask again, have you all lost it? In this BS world where you blame the victims for just, being a victim, have we fallen so much as a society that we now actually blame victims of horrible things in being victimized because they made an art describing their pain? Have we fallen so much that we now use other people's vent arts against them as evidence to dogpile them? No, I haven't gotten to the bottom of these dramas and the traumas they inflicted on the victims. So I will link good videos below that I feel are somehow explaining it more in detail. But the two examples I give prove a point. YouTubers don't understand vent art. They don't treat it with the respect it needs. And by extension, they don't understand mental health issues. And they often weaponize them in dramas against the victims. In both my examples, Peaches and dolliguts had their vent and pain abused and used in an expose video against them. But those were just the biggest ones we know. They definitely aren't alone in this dramatic place of YouTube commentary community. The community slowly did its best to make anything, even personal fallout, into content. And in the end, our community have lowered themselves so much that we now use our opponent's pain and trauma against them. YouTubers have now even made vent art, a piece of someone else's soul, into something marketable that can gain them views by crushing the victims. And in this kind of hellish landscape, I have to question if we haven't derailed too much as a community to a point where, even though the commentary community tries to present itself as virtuous, it had become one of YouTube's biggest villains. It's time that we ask the big questions. How low can we go as a community while still hold ourselves to be bigger and more moral than others? How many more of our fellow YouTubers will we cancel for personal grudges? What line would we cross next in this useless crusade of one exposing the other? What will we use now, after we used and abused vent art? What things will we use next to vilify victims? Maybe a picture? An art picture? An essay picture? A video of mental breakdown of a person? Maybe even their cry for help? Oh wait, look, already used that. Sorry. More importantly, how long before our cruelty will finally catch up to us and create victims? Victims that we won't be able to get back once they're really gone. How long till we would drive someone to game end in pursuit of more views for the drama? We don't need Hunger Games anymore at all. Here, in the commentary community, we have a real-life depiction of Hunger Games. And it will probably create victims if we won't stop. We have successfully slain every sacred cow for internet points. And I have to ask you, the viewers, just as I asked the YouTubers, was it worth it? Because when nothing, including traumas, are sacred anymore, everything is fair game, even someone else's life. And one day, our community might cross that line if we won't stop it now. And after we cross, there is no coming back. I was Ace, and I hope you enjoyed your visit in my humble wonderland. And may you always have my tower of cards guarding you from above, back to here. If you want to be citizen of my wonderland, by all means, subscribe. And if you truly love this land, maybe even ring the magic bell in the end of the road. It will always show you the way back here. And thank you for your visit.